Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I hope that you're having a wonderful start to your day. I had started a video. I was about 5 minutes in, and then my phone rang, and I had to take it, making some plans, and it was a callback, and I needed to take care of business. And I'm proud of myself that I'm taking care of business. I'm knocking things off of my to-do list. But of course, it interrupted my video, and I have to start again. So, as I was saying, this week is about trust. And I have struggled a bit with coming up with things I want to say about trust. And I thought, well, Avril, you chose the word. You wanted to reflect on it. You wanted to deepen your practice of being trusting. And get to work, right? And so the thing that I do, and I've shared this with you guys before, is I read the card. I read it over and over again. I'm a reader, and I wait for inspiration to pop. For a line to rise to the top, and then a story forms in my head, some experience I have, and then some enlightenment that I want to share. Today's practice that I want to talk about is um, we don't nag others or seek to control them. We don't nag others. We don't seek to control them. And so I thought to myself, well, why do we nag? Oftentimes you hear, about the nagging housewife. Why do we nag? Well, when we dig deep on that, really what we're saying is that we don't trust that someone else is going to do the thing that they're supposed to do, or they're going to do something that we don't think that they're supposed to do. It's like a reminder, I think in terms of, that slight line between a remind and a nag. They're the same thing. I'm sharing with you information that I think that you're going to forget, or that I think that I want you to remember. Remind has a positive connotation, right? I'm just reminding you. It's received well. A nag is, how many times you're going to tell me this? Or you don't think I'm going to be able to do this? And that's the message that we communicate to someone when we nag them. When we have to repeat something over and over again, we tend to have resentment and an edge to our voice and attitude when we do it. And so the person receives it, with that edge, with that thought of, I'm not going to get this done. She or he doesn't trust me, doesn't have confidence, doesn't have faith in my ability to get this done. And so it could be a fine line between a remind and a nag. But when we're nagging, we're communicating some angst along with that. And along with nagging, we are communicating a desire or a need to control someone else's actions. And I'm telling you that the most unloving thing you can do for a person, unless they need it, unless they're incapacitated mentally or physically, is to try to control them. No one wants to be controlled. I have this conversation with people all the time when they're upset about someone in their lives that are doing something or not doing something that displeases them, their desire to control others. And I always have to bring them back into themselves and say, hey, when you were in a situation like that, or when you were that person's age, or whatever the situation may be, did you want someone to control you? No. And it, again, it's all about balance and fine lines of offering advice, offering counsel, and also allowing people to activate you. And I'll tell you that particularly, as an administrator, as an educator, as a former classroom teacher, as a mother, as a spouse, as a child, in all of those relationships, what I have learned to do is to allow people to activate me. I sit back and watch, because you need to learn how to open your mouth and activate. I'm not gonna jump to it, and the reason why I don't do that is because I'm not trying to control. Like, we all have this responsibility and this right in life to handle our business. And so if you activate me, in other words, you ask me for help, or you ask me for something that you need, I'm there. I'm there. You probably can't even finish asking before I'm there. But if you don't, well, then I'm going to step back and allow you to make your way, because that's the loving thing to do. That is demonstrating confidence. Saying to someone, hey, this is what I think would be good for you, particularly if they ask you. And sometimes when they don't, you'll say, this is what I think would be helpful. I see that you're struggling, offer advice, right? And that's it. Then you step back and you leave it alone. You can offer people suggestions. And for myself, I try to feel it out. I can tell when people are receptive and when they're not. And when I say something, when I offer counsel, when I offer advice, I want it to be beneficial. I want it to be helpful. And so if I know that a person is going to reject it, because they're not in a place of receiving, I'll keep my mouth shut. That's the most loving thing to do. The most loving thing to do for myself. The most loving thing to do for that person, because you definitely don't want to, build up resentment about, being helpful and a person not taking your help, if you will. So I guess now that I talk about it, yeah, whenever I get to talking about it, it does definitely make sense to me why I've chosen the virtue that I've chosen. But think about that. In the email today, I just offer you some questions to ask yourself around trust and around your habits with trust. It really is a deeply introspective look that you have to take um, with yourself and with your relationships with the people that you surround yourself with. I backed that up with a quote that was really interesting to me. It says you have to intentionally trust people. People can't earn or lose your trust. And I thought, wow, that's different. That's interesting. So I really want to hear some feedback from you guys. Read those questions and send me respond back to the email about can people earn our trust, and then how do people do that? Can people lose our trust? How do people do that? Can people regain our trust when they lose it? How do we do that? Like, what does that really look like? Because we say those things, but do we really take the time to think about what that really looks like and sounds like and feels like? Think about that today. What does that look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? That whole idea of trust, and when it's there and when it's not there, and the impact that it has on you and how you relate to other people. Nagging, I definitely want to talk about that. So I had a friend of mine, she has some goals that she wants to achieve, and she was down on herself about not having put in the work. It's always funny as educators when we take off that month and a half, 2 months or whatever. We have big dreams and ideas of all the things we're going to accomplish during our off time. And then we wake up every day and watch TV and lay down because we need to. We need to rest. We need to recover. And I tell people all the time, if that's all you do in the summertime, then that's good, because you're getting ready for the fall when it is, hit the ground with hit the ground with your feet ready to run. I don't know, I made that up, but I said to her, with my good friend Nick said to me when I was, down on myself about some projects that I hadn't done some work on. He said, just do 10 minutes a night. I'm going to text you every day just to remind you, do 10 minutes tonight, do 11 minutes, then do 12 minutes. And so she and I got together for lunch last week, and I said, I'm going to start texting you, and I'm just going to say, get your 10 minutes in. And, interestingly enough, the first couple of nights she's been getting hours in. And I said, but there are going to be some times when you're tired and you're going to have other things to do. And just get those 10 minutes in every day. 10 minutes towards your goal, whatever it is. If you're looking for a job, 10 minutes on the job searches, looking at your resume, following up. If you're writing a book, 10 minutes on the book. Sometimes you're just going to read it and review it and say, I want to change this thing. 10 minutes on, for her, she's developing character. She's going to write some fables. She's got some great ideas. So, we just got to get those ideas on the paper. And so I thought to myself, the difference between nagging and reminding, she might get to the point where she feel like I am nagging her when I get on the text and I say, hey, you did your 10 minutes? Hey, you did your 15 minutes? That's me helping her hold herself accountable. And that is me expressing to her my belief in her ability to do this thing. So don't take something I've said and make it black or white and say, well, it must be this. No, there's always exceptions to every rule. There's always slight shadings. We talk about those shades of gray, where we got to shade things a little bit darker in some situations, a little bit lighter in other situations, to make it work. Only you know what it's going to take to make it work. So be mindful of that. Like, don't take things in extremes. Take things in moderation and figure out how to make it work for yourself. But yeah, that's what the two things about trust is today. It's about not nagging. It's about not controlling. It's about, what does it take to earn and keep trust and lose trust? And what does it mean to intentionally trust people and to be trusting and trustworthy and having confidence and faith in ourselves and others to do the things that we need to do. I picked a great song from the 90s. I'm in a 90s state of mind with music. It's I think Tony Braxton and Babyface song, so check that out. Great advice in our Action for Happiness calendar to get outside and do something in the sun, get some vitamin D, breathe some fresh air, check out some squirrels running around. That always makes me smile. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And I hope that I have said something that has illuminated your mind, has inspired you to greatness, has reminded you to be kind to yourself and others. Trust yourself and love yourself and be compassionate and forgiving with yourself. Be patient with yourself, and you will be able to be that much more for others when you start with yourself. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everyone. Take care. I love you so much.